Hello, hello, my Let's Keep It Real people. And let me just start up by saying thank you. Thank you so much for all your support. I've asked you to send in questions for my guests, and I said, you really need to, up your game. I wasn't getting a lot of questions for the last few months, and all of a sudden I got flooded. And now Bob probably can't get them all, but that's all right, because I'm sure you can reach him out to him. Bob, how are you?
I'm doing real great. And, is it okay? I want to say thank you to you, Sandy. I mean, it takes a lot of work to put together a podcast and to give a platform for folks who want to share something with other
Ah.
folks. And it's just an act of love. So thank you for what you do.
Well, I was just talking to another young lady before this who she also hosts podcasts, and we were talking about the original reason we got into it is not even the same reason we stay in it, because we meet so many wonderful, amazing people, and every single time I hear something, I'm like, "Oh my God, I didn't think of it that way. I didn't know that." And I've been doing it for like 17 years since it's been called radio, and I still get on
Hmm.
and go, "Oh my God." So we're going to jump right into it, Bob.
Okay.
Here we go. Bob Martin's remarkable journey spans from being a high-powered criminal trial lawyer during Miami's, which I don't think I've ever had a guest with this, infamous Cocaine Cowboy era, to a mindfulness coordinator, certified meditation mentor, and published author. At 74, Bob draws from his extensive experiences. Oh my God, I just can't believe you made the leap from that. Criminal lawyer, restaurant owner, corporate consultant, and community leader to help others discover clarity, resilience, and peace. Currently, a professor of wellness and mindfulness coordinator at, we just talking about that, Elon University. Bob integrates Taoist teaching, brain science, I love that, and psychology into practical lessons for breaking free from limiting beliefs. His story of transformation offers powerful insights into oh my goodness, living a meaningful life. All right, we're going to jump into it, Bob. You get to pick one word that best describes your past 30 days, whatever pops into your head, and then tell us why you picked that word. Doesn't matter what it is.
Heartbreak.
Oh,
Sorry.
no, that's okay. I haven't had that in a while. All right.
There's the political situation.
Oh, so tell us more.
Well, you know, um, so yeah, I was a trial lawyer, 40 years as a trial
Long
lawyer.
time.
And I saw that as being a servant to Lady Liberty. That I was in service to justice for 40 years. And you develop a certain ethic about what's right and what's wrong and the rule of law and what people need to do to act civilized and kind with each other. And then all
Mm.
of a sudden, you see all of those institutions which supported that slowly being dismantled. And it breaks your heart.
So, it's so funny that not funny that you mentioned this, but I had a guest on last week, and she was saying, listen, without really diving into it, it just were, she said there was like 2 nights I was so angry and so upset, I just didn't sleep, right?
Hmm.
And then she shifted gears and said, okay, now what? So, what can I do to make a difference? And what can I do so that I feel like I'm making an impact? Because I can't just stay up nights worrying about it. And she ended up forming a book club where she's highlighting books with different opinions and different backgrounds that you may never have ever thought about reading. And all of a sudden, she had to close out the book club because so many people were interested. And she's back to sleeping modes now. So now that you opened that can of worms, what do you do about it? Like, how do you sleep at night? To feel like, okay, I'm making a difference. And because I know the heartache and I know what you must be feeling. So now what?
Well, I always keep in mind um, the comment, you can't heal the world, but you can heal your little corner of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, the effect that I may have, I mean, I am enheartened by the fact that, in cities all around the country, people are raising their voices and saying, we are heartbroken too. I know that I'm not alone,
Yeah.
but I'm fortunate that I write, and um, I write and I post and I publish, and I teach. So I have access, to I have a platform
Mm,
that I can reach out to. So I don't feel, I personally don't feel helpless, although many of my friends,
yeah. Yeah, I get that.
do. I mean, I'm 75, so a lot of my friends are retired, and and the like, and they're upset, and they, haven't been engaged in doing very much in their retirement, and there's a feeling of helplessness. But I see that people are beginning to ask that question, what can I do? And I
Yeah.
guess I think that's where you start asking the question, what can I do? And
Yeah.
remember, it's not about healing the world, it's just healing your little corner of it.
My son, he's a sophomore at college, and he's very much involved in community and giving back. And of course, him and his friends were devastated, but I see him doing little things every day, even at his school. He goes to Tyler Art to make a difference in even the other kids' lives. And we were talking like, Cole, I want to do more. I want to do more. What should I do? He goes, well, Mom, there's tons of things you can do. But let's start with, what do you enjoy doing? Because there's so many things out there. Don't do something because I feel like I have to. And I'm like, duh, that's my kid. What is it you enjoy doing? And then there'll be so many ways for you to help and give back.
Sandy, you touch on something that has been very current in my thinking. And it's this, that if you look at the teachings of Lao Tzu and Confucius and the Buddha and Jesus and the like, we all have this idea that they came to make us better people, and to make the world a better place. And I think that we may be, I don't know if mistaken's the word, but we may have a different angle on it, or I think that I have a different angle on it. It's not that they came to make me a better person. They came because they want me to be happy.
Mm.
And it just so happens that if I don't practice betrayal against my friends, I tend to be more happy. If
And there's
I
that.
if I am generous, I tend to be more happy. If I'm greedy, I tend to be less happy. If
So
I
true.
am kind, I tend to be more happy. If I'm mean, I tend to be less happy. So they were just saying, all we do is want you to be happy. Now, coincidentally, in order to get there, you wind up being a better person.
Yeah.
And in order to get there, you wind up having a better world. But all we really want is be happy.
I remember years ago, someone was like, Sandy, you do so much for other people. You're such a selfless person, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm very selfish. When I do that, I feel so much joy inside.
Right. Exactly.
Oh my goodness. All right. So let's talk about your teachings at
Okay.
school. Yeah, I want to dive into that because we haven't had anyone recently with your well, I don't know if we ever had anyone with your background who's teaching what you're teaching. So tell me what it's like at the university right now. How are the
Well,
kids reacting to your teachings?
well, two questions there. What's it like at the university? What's really great at the university is that there's a new initiative that's just beginning to get traction called HEU, Health Education Universities.
Ah,
And it is not a separate university, it is an initiative inside of our university. And all over campus, we're seeing HEU, HEU. And it's about wellness. It's about wellness on a physical level, a financial level, a spiritual level, and a psychological level. We want the kids not to come out of there all kinds of stress type A's looking for success and when am I going to get my first yacht. We want
mm,
them to be well.
I love that.
And it's an initiative now that my university has engaged in, and there's a number of other universities. And I'm really happy to see that um, because all we really want is for you to be happy.
Yeah.
So that's what's happened in the university, and within that, they allowed me to actually have a 2 credit meditation course where I don't have to pretend I'm teaching mindful leadership or put it into some kind of like what is the history of meditation. I get to teach meditation. um, and
You don't have to sugarcoat it. This is what it is. This is what we're
yeah, I
learning.
get to
It's
actually teach
valuable.
the skill. And the way that I teach it both on campus and in my private practice and to CEOs, and I also teach a lot of kids out of the foster and juvenile justice systems pro bono. And those kids, I tell you, those kids take to it the easiest. But anyway, the way that I teach it is that there is an app that's associated with it, and the app has the guided meditations. They listen to it, and then they write a little reflection. Like they might write, "Oh, this was a terrible meditation. There was a dog barking throughout the whole thing, and every time I thought I was going to meditate, I couldn't meditate because all I could do was get pissed off at the dog, and then all of a sudden the gong rang and it was over. It was terrible." And now they write that, okay, and
Love it.
that comes to my dashboard every single morning, every single morning in the class. And I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I get my 15 logs, and I respond to them. Sometimes it's just good job, you got this. But sometimes it's, whoa, you're saying that was a terrible meditation. Look at all the stuff you noticed. You noticed that the dog was barking. You noticed that you attempted not to notice that the dog was barking and that you were not able to not notice, which is a great thing because brain science teaches us that you cannot reduce stress. You can only counterbalance it. You can't
Oh,
not stress.
that's a big one. Hold on, because
Okay.
my peeps have told me I try to get too much in. They want me to
Okay.
recap. So let I got the we're meant to be happy. We're not meant to be better
Right,
people.
right.
But being happy, you end up being
Yeah.
a better person. So that's a big takeaway. Let's stay with that.
Let's stay with that one. Okay, you can't
Now, number two.
reduce stress. You can't reduce stress. You can only counterbalance it.
All right, you got to dive in because that's a big one.
Okay. So most people say, I'm stressed and I don't want to be stressed and I want to de-stress. That's our mostly common reaction.
Right.
Brain science says that we can't do that. Okay. I mean, and the reason they can say we can't do it is because stress is identifiable in photographs of the electrical activity in the right prefrontal cortex of your brain. So I'm just saying there's a scientific way for them to be able to say that you can't do that.
Yeah, they can see it. Yeah,
They
they
can
can.
see it. They can see it. What you can do is you counterbalance it by um, rest, relaxation, beauty, awe, insight, storytelling, things like that. In other words, by activating your left prefrontal, your rest and digest system, by activating that, you balance the energy.
Okay. But isn't
Okay.
that reducing it? I get it. But by counterbalancing it and doing all that awesome stuff, doesn't that reduce the stress?
It is the imbalance that gives you the sensation of discomfort.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Okay.
okay. So you think you have levels of stress, but it's not really supported by the evidence. It's a perception of where you put your. In other words, if I have a get into this, like, okay, so what does stress feel like? If you
Stress,
start, yeah,
yeah, it feels like you're not in control.
okay, but that isn't a physical sensation. What
Oh,
is
what
the
is it?
physical sensation of stress?
I feel tightness.
Okay, so that's a physical sensation.
Yeah.
Okay, where do you feel the tightness?
Throughout my body, like mostly in my neck. If I feel stressed, first thing it's going to do is I feel tightness in my neck.
In your neck. Okay, and okay, now that you have identified, this is what we do, in meditation, is we identify emotions as a combination of a physical sensation and a thought.
Okay.
So now that you've identified it as a physical sensation of tightness in your chest, can you handle that physical sensation? Is it so painful that you can't handle it?
No.
Okay. So that's all that is. That's all it is, right?
Okay.
Okay. Now you have some thoughts about, I'm not going to be able to do this. I can't make this deadline. I
Hmm.
can't do this. Now, in meditation, we learn that we're not our thoughts. We have thoughts, but we're
Right.
not our thoughts, right?
Right.
So when we become skillful in understanding that we have thoughts and that we're not our thoughts, then even those thoughts of stress become just things that we have. That's all they are. They're just thoughts. So now you have things that are just thoughts, and you have
Okay.
a physical sensation that is uncomfortable, but you can handle.
Okay.
So
I
now
got
why? So now why is that such a big thing?
it. Okay.
Right?
So,
Because up until this moment, it has combined together, and we have a paradigm that this is terrible, and then we have these thoughts of catastrophizing the future, and I'm going to be out of control, and all these bad things are going to happen, and blah blah blah, which are also, simply thoughts. But going back to the idea that stress itself, has levels, not really. It is just stress, which is a physical sensation and an emotion. So if I can now experience a beautiful sunset
mhm.
and kind of lose myself in that for a moment, or if I can reflect on that wonderful time when my kid hit a triple, or I can reflect on this incident and that incident, something that fills up that left side of the brain. I'm not thinking about the thought, and probably the physical sensation won't be so uncomfortable.
Okay. So, and I don't want to simplify it.
Okay,
There's a lot to break down, but I
a
remember
lot to break down.
years
Hmm.
ago, I was fortunate enough that one of my health clubs was right near University of Pennsylvania, and Dr. Marty Seligman, positive psychology,
Oh my!
right there. I mean, few blocks from my gym. And one of the professors that worked under him, she helped me with one of my journal books on how to create this journal book, whatever. But I remember them saying, and this was years ago, the same thing. She would be like, you, it's the apple and the pear. If I tell you not to, think of the pear, you're just gonna keep thinking of the pear. So you have to replace it with the apple. And you can't have that two thoughts at the same time. And then she broke it into, if you're fearful and you're scared, then the only thing you can do is you shift gears to think about things that relax you. Is that sort of what we're talking about, the apple and the pear, or is it totally different?
I don't, yeah, the idea of shifting intentionally to think about something else for the purpose of not thinking about one thing is a little tricky, because what you're really doing there is trying not to think about something. And I think your brain's going to play a trick on, it's going to make you think about that which you don't want to think about.
Which is why she said you gotta think about the pear. Now
Right. Right. But I mean, if is what I'm saying is, if I got the apple and the pear and I say I'm going to not think about apple by thinking about the pear, my brain is smart enough to know that I'm only thinking about the pear so that I don't have to think about the apple.
damn
And
brain.
a damn brain, it's smart enough to do that, and it's probably
Okay.
going to swing back to the apple. But if I go out and get a pear and I start smelling the pear and I start
Ah,
eating the pear, I'm not going to be thinking about the apple.
so you're saying bring in more of the senses.
The experience,
Yeah.
bringing the experience of it, thinking about something is not being it's imagining it in the future. Let me give you a real life example here, okay?
That'd be awesome.
Okay, so I'm in class and I get 15 students, and it's all elective, of course. It's an
Yeah.
elective class, and they all take it because most of them identify as perfectionists or overthinkers or stressed out or blah blah. So they know the benefit is what they expect out of the class, is that they're going to learn to be able to modify that thing that's bothering them. So I notice, like I mentioned, the way that I teach is we meet once a week, but they practice every day on their app and they log, and I get their log and I return. And so we have a conversation with all 15 of them every single day. I'm talking in contact with them every day.
Yeah.
So I see one of them is not logging. We're about the second week now. Everybody else has given me about 10 logs, and she's given me two or three. So I asked her to stay after class, and I said to her, so what's going on? I'm not being critical. I mean,
Yeah.
she can log or not log. It's not a graded class. I mean, I'm just saying, you took it because you wanted the benefit. And I'm sure you're smart enough to know that you can't go to a gym and just look at the machines. You got to get on them. I'm sure you know that. So, so she says, yeah, it's a funny thing. I always seem to know what I need to do, but I never seem to do it.
Ooh.
I said, oh, that's interesting. So what are the thoughts that come into your head that are related to that? Well, they're thoughts like this or like that. And now I am a therapist, but I'm not there as a therapist. I'm there as a meditation teacher.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
so I'm using meditation tools. So I'm saying, don't tell me what the thoughts are like. Tell me what the words are that you're using. Oh, it took her a little while, but she started to identify the words. Okay, great. And then she goes, well, it's not that. It always seems that I'm always sabotaging myself. Said, well, what
Mhm.
words are you using for that? And how does that feel? And like, so we're talking. All of a sudden, the dam breaks open, tears start coming out, sobbing heavily. I mean, and I just don't think that I deserve to be happy.
Mm.
Okay. Again, it's hard for me
That
not.
sounds like therapy to me.
Yeah, it really does. But then I'm thinking to myself, you're not a therapist, you're a meditation teacher. Keep on that side of the road. So I said, I see that you're in pain. You're suffering. I see that. Where are you feeling it? Well, it's in my eyes and it's in my head. No, 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 no. I want you to tell me where in your body you're feeling it. And, she resisted and resisted. But finally, when she calmed down a little bit, she was able to identify. This is really weird. She's able to identify a spot that was like 3 inches under her left collarbone.
Wow.
She said, "That's where I feel it. It feels like it's throbbing there, and it feels like it's swollen, but it's not throbbing, but it feels like it should be throbbing." And then she went on with these detailed explanations of what she was feeling there. And then I asked her, "Did you notice you're not crying?" Oh, so we figured out, so now she was in the present moment, feeling a sensation that was current and present right now. And she realized that there was nothing in the present moment that required her to be afraid. It was only her thoughts of whatever happened to her in the past that
Mm,
caused her to feel she doesn't deserve to be happy, and her projection into the future of how her life was going to be. But it had nothing to do with the present moment. And then
wow.
then we started to identify that emotions are nothing more than a physical sensation. Because if I said to you, "Sandy, I love you," but I don't have a sense of yearning in my chest, I don't
Mm,
have a physical sensation associated with that, it's just an academic exercise.
yeah.
On
Yeah.
the other hand, if I have the physical sensation, but I don't have the thought, I probably would think I had indigestion,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So it's the combination of a physical sensation with the thought that causes you to think you have an emotion. And when you can deconstruct that, you can manage your emotion more skillfully, which is what I did for her. I helped her to
Yes.
break it down.
Absolutely.
I helped her to break it down. And then the reflection that I got from her at the end of the course was, she said that she has not had that thought for the remainder of the course, and she was going to carry that into the rest of her life.
And did she log on?
Oh, from that point on, she logged on every day.
That's awesome.
So that's the power.
Yeah. And how grateful is she that you were there for her? Like, there's something somebody just said that to me the other day. Like, they're a therapist, they're a therapist who's also a coach, who's also a professor. But no matter how much she studied, there's things she couldn't see within herself. And I feel like everybody needs help from the outside. There's just things that you just can't work out on your own.
So, yes, that's why you need a coach. I mean, you learn yoga from watching YouTubes and reading books. You can, and there are apps, and there are journals and logs where you can track your progress, and there's all kinds of things that you can do. But none of that can tell you to move your elbow 2 inches to the left.
No, exactly. I'll tell you what, some of my favorite coaches, they all and therapists that I know that are friends and colleagues, they all have therapists or coaches, every single one of them.
Oh, yeah.
And I love
Yeah.
that. Constantly growing, constantly learning. All right, so I want to back up a second here because I really want to make sure that we got the happy part, but I really want to make sure that they have concrete things they can do for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
We get that, be great with a coach about, here they are feeling stress and you want to counterbalance it. So let's give a real life example of, how about we bring in one of the questions now, and
Okay, sure.
then it'll help.
Sure.
So this person, actually, this young man, is a senior in college. And we'll call him Billy Bob. And Billy Bob gets overwhelmed because He's not sure what he's going to do with this degree. And did he pick the right degree? And he doesn't want to, disappoint anyone. Billy Bob says he was good for the first 2 years, but then by the third year, it started building up. Like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And now he's here with his fourth year, and he's stressed to the max. He's tried everything, and he knows he is not his thoughts. What's a suggestion when he really starts spinning out of control of what he's going to do with his future? Please ask Bob for help.
Wow.
Bob's thinking.
So if the first place I would need to go is let's take a look at exactly what the words are that he's using in his mind, the words that are flowing through his mind. Exactly what are those words? And then what are the physical sensations that he's feeling?
Okay.
Because overwhelm, we have become so disconnected from our bodies that we have no idea how these emotions are manifesting in them.
I gotcha.
I mean, we have look, I used to weigh 315 pounds, and I couldn't do anything with it until I learned that the thought, I'm hungry, is just a thought, and that if I can just wait 5 seconds, it's going to go away.
Mm,
And
you.
somebody else just wrote a great book called the Countdown Method. And she says, whenever you have a thought, you open up the refrigerator. Should I have cheese, or do I want grapes, or and then just count down from 5, 5, 4,
Yeah.
3, and then by the time you get there, you can close the refrigerator door.
So
Uh,
true.
because we're so disconnected, we don't know when we're hungry, when we're not hungry. But anyway, there are physical sensations that he's feeling, and it's really important for him to ask himself the questions: where in my body am I feeling those sensations? What are those sensations? Where are they? And then also, what are the words that I'm using?
Okay.
um, I mean, you have to start there. I mean, there's all kinds of things that I could say, about you're catastrophizing about the future and it hasn't come yet and come to the present moment. All that doesn't mean anything to anybody in that state. It's a physical state,
Yeah.
and we have to deal with it physically to start. Once we can get to a place where it's a little calm, then you might be able to understand that um, that everything that's happening to him has nothing to do, if I can get a little bit, I'm not going to say spiritual, but a little bit woo
Just
woo.
go. It's okay. My peeps are used to it.
Okay. There is our authentic from there is an authentic self that we have that inherently knows what's good and what's right. And then there's all of the conditioning that's been placed upon it. Everything that he's feeling is a product of somebody else's thought,
Mm,
that has been imposed upon him. It has nothing to do with his authentic self. But I mean, that doesn't help. That's not going to help him right now, because the conditioning has been ingrained into his thinking such that it has been accepted as my own. But if we can start to consider the fact, even just consider the fact, that this is conditioning and
okay.
it's not the product of my authentic self. If we could just consider that, allow for that possibility
Okay.
that what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling has no basis in any kind of reality, it's just the conditioning that has been imposed upon me, it might open up a little space.
Yeah.
And then if you can like revisit that little space again and again, it
Mhm.
might grow.
I like that. Okay. So then let's make sure that we're clear on if someone says, "Oh, I have too much stress in my life, I want to reduce it." You're saying you can't reduce it, you just can counterbalance it.
Right? You have to cultivate and curate your environment.
Okay. What about, because lately you've been hearing so much about it, is it the same thing when people say, "I just have so much anxiety, I don't even know how to control it anymore"?
Mm, yeah. So, the thing about stress is that we have to have stress in our life. If we don't have stress in our life, we won't do anything.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, a certain level of stress is required.
Yeah.
I have some assignments that I need to do, and they are stressing me out because I know I need to do them. But I want to go downstairs and I want to lay in the bed and I want to watch TV right now.
Yeah.
Um, Without the stress, I won't do what I need to do.
Yep.
So you need that in your life, to get you up out of bed and get you going. So that's okay. Overwhelm is what we don't want,
Right.
right? So I'm sorry, go back to the
No, that's
question.
okay. So it's about anxiety
Oh
because
yeah, yeah. I think that, one of the things that I think is helpful is to have a little understanding of who we are as human beings and what's acting on us and why we're acting the way we're acting, because we have a tendency to think it's about me. It's me. There's something wrong with me.
yes, absolutely.
So we have to remember that we are creatures. We are creatures that evolved in an environment that is very different than the environment we're living in.
Okay.
We spent 1.7 million generations as hunter gatherers. We have only had agriculture for 500 generations. We are the creature that evolved for a life that is constantly being threatened with real dangers like snakes and thorns and poisons and tigers.
Yeah.
And we have to go out and find our food and do a lot of physical work every day. We understand this in a way because a lot of us go to gyms because we know we're not getting enough
Yeah.
exercise.
Yeah.
And we try to make up for the fact that our bodies need exercise by going to a gym to getting exercise. We also lived in a world where during the day we worked hard and gathered berries and gathered whatever we needed to
Yep.
do, very physically demanding. Dangers were identifiable. And when it came to the night, we connected with our tribe and we relaxed and we became creative and told stories. So that was the kind of routine of life that we had, which we do not have today. When the danger is a snake, I know what to do. If it's a tiger, I know I run. If it's a snake, I get away from it. If it's poisoned food, I don't eat it. I can identify it. It's
Okay.
clear. When the dangers are deadlines, missed buses, cars that break down, an engine light that goes on that I don't know what it means, an app that I have to like start up and I can't figure out why it won't connect to my internet. When these are the kinds of unidentified dangers that exist, it's kind of a chaotic gray mass of stuff out there that is not identifiable and solvable right away. It is creating in me physically the same reaction. Cortisol is dropping into my body, adrenaline is coming into my body, I'm getting stressed. I'm having the same physical reaction as if there was a snake in front of me,
Yeah.
but I can't identify it and I can't solve it. So we have to recognize that those feelings that we're having are evolutionary holdovers from a time
Gotcha.
when it made sense, and that they're going to be there, and that the only thing that we can do is learn to curate our environment. We have to recognize that I've got 40 things on my to-do list and I'm not going to get them all done. And when I die, my inbox is not going to be empty. You just got to accept it.
So
I mean, if it was a snake, I know what to do with it. With a deadline, with a to-do list that I can't handle, I can't. And at the same time, I have to take the time to connect. The other part of our brain, that left side of our brain, you know, um, from positive psychology, when we rest and our brain relaxes, we see the world more broadly. Our peripheral vision literally increases. Literally increases. We literally see the world more broadly. We get creative ideas, things that we couldn't connect before, we can connect. Our sense of wanting to be with people, to open ourselves, to open our heart is there. That's a vital part of our living. We have to take the time to generate an environment that feeds that. And that's what I mean by balancing it.
yeah, I gotcha. I'm
If
seeing it, Bob.
you have enough beauty in your life, stress will not be an issue.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to make sure we get this in because I know we're going to run out of time and I know I'm going to get flooded with this. So meditation, we got question after question of, does it matter what type of meditation they use?
Yes. Yes, it does, because it depends on what you
Well,
because
there's that.
it depends on what your goal is.
Okay.
If your goal is to transcend to another state of consciousness, then you need to do transcendental meditation and do mantras and stuff like that. If your goal is to empty your mind, well, that's not meditation, that's relaxation, which is
Okay.
vital and important. But you should listen to sweet music, and read a book, and watch a mindless war movie, or
Okay.
whatever it is, that causes your mind to go blank.
I
Uh,
gotcha.
but if it is your goal to build up the neural pathways in your brain that make it easier for you to be generous, kind, loving, and to create the kind of person that you imagine that you want to be, then there are certain kinds of meditations that you need to practice to do that. And that's the kind of meditation that I teach, which is just brain awareness, insight meditation, um, is what that is. So it does, yeah, it does matter. Now
Does it matter
within,
how long? Does it matter how long? Sorry.
I think, they often say about learning a guitar, you can learn 3 chords on a guitar and play 40 songs inside a half hour, and you can spend your life um, perfecting it. Meditation's kind of like that. You can learn meditation that gives you benefits and makes a huge difference in your life in a very short period of time. And you can spend your life perfecting it. So, it's an ongoing, lifelong thing. But my students generally, my students generally it's about the fifth or sixth or seventh day when they go, oh, now I see what you're saying. They had the experience
Yeah.
of the teaching. So, no, it doesn't take a long time. 10 minutes a day, a week or two.
I was going to say, if they are getting it after 5 or 6, that's huge. That's quick.
Yeah, no, it is because it's not complicated. Look, Sandy, haven't you had a conversation? And even as you're having the conversation, there's a thought in your head like, oh, this isn't going very well. Or, or, oh, I was really brilliant. Or even when you're telling a joke, you're thinking about what you're going to say next. And then you're thinking about how the tagline's going to
Yeah.
go, you know. So that part of your brain that's commenting on your conversation, that is meditation. You're already meditating there. All we do in meditation is help you be able to comment on what you're doing intentionally instead of it happening just because it happens. When you're having your conversation and you're thinking this isn't going so well,
Mm-hmm.
you're gaining a little wisdom there because look at what's happening. You're watching what you're doing, you're seeing the reaction of the other person, you're evaluating all of that data,
Mm-hmm.
and you're teaching yourself that probably the next time I'm going to do it a little differently, which means that you're becoming more skillful in life. And that's what meditation is. The only thing that we do in meditation is teach you to be able to do that more often and intentionally so that you gain the wisdom more quickly.
Okay. So hold on. Hold on.
Okay. Woo!
Let's right now, because I've had so many different interpretations of this.
Okay.
What is your definition of meditation then?
Meditation is the process of learning to become a skillful thinker.
Never heard that before. I like that.
It's skillful. It's just becoming more skillful. I want to go out and learn how to play tennis. Okay, this is how you do a forehand. It ain't no big deal. I want to be able to manage my thinking more skillfully. Okay, well, then we have to like see,
Then what's the difference between that and mindfulness?
well, it's kind of like the difference between a boat and a ship. You can put a boat on a ship, but you can't put a ship on a boat.
I like that analogy.
Yeah. All meditation is mindfulness, but not all mindfulness is meditation.
I like
If I was going to make my bed mindful, if I was going to wash dishes,
yeah, be
I,
mindful.
okay, there's two ways to do it. One, I can do it grumbling about how my partner ought to be doing it because I cooked the dinner, and it's going to be a miserable experience.
True that.
Huh? or or I can, say, oh, here's a dish. Oh, look, it has this kind of this kind. It's going to need a little soap, and it's going to need a little this. And okay, I got the water's hot. Oh, the water feels so nice. Here's the soap. What kind of a thing? I'm going to use this kind of a thing, and I'm going to no. And so I need a little bit more scrub, and I can really get into it, and really be looking at what I'm doing in the present moment, and by the time I'm finished, it was almost an enjoyable experience. Your choice.
Okay, I just want to make sure I got this right. Meditation is mindfulness, but not all mindfulness is meditation.
Right. Meditation is simply a structured type of
Gotcha.
mindfulness.
Okay. We got to go, man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can't believe it. I know we didn't get to everything, but this is enough to make their head spin. It's good. Well, we got it in. We got a lot of stuff, a lot of food
Okay.
for thought. They're going to have to rewind and wind.
So
And
you might you might ask, like, how do you get started? And what I would tell you is this: people ask me that question all the time. So I decided I would write it all down in a 40-page ebook that's free. And I really mean it. It is free, no obligation. Go to my website and click on Is Meditation for Me? Download it, and all of the questions that you would want. What is it? Is it for me? How do you do it? What kind of
I love
resources?
it.
What should I read? What are the good apps? It's all in there. Just just download it, all the
So there you
answers.
go, folks. If you want to know how to get started, there you have it. All right. Now, besides that, is there anywhere else you want them to reach out and find you?
No, that's it. I made it very simple. Just one place. Now I'm just about to finish. This is going to be exciting. I'm just about to finish. I've just been working on a self-assessment about how much do you know about mindfulness. And it's like a 10-question self-assessment.
Ooh,
Everybody likes to take self-tests, right? So it's like one of those tests, and it scores
I
it,
like
and then
that.
based on the score, I've got a lot of recommendations. So that'll be posted on my website probably within the next couple of days.
That's fun.
That's fun.
Yeah, that's fun.
Mhm.
All right, Bob, it's been a pleasure. I really
Oh, it's,
appreciate that we figured this out for Let's Keep It Real.
yes.
And before it goes, is there anything else that we didn't get in that you want to get in? I think we got a lot in, but just in case, is there anything else you want to tell the Let's Keep It Real people?
I just want to let you know that we are all so much more than our thoughts.
Like that. Bob and I would really appreciate you liking it, rating it, sharing it with someone, subscribing. It means the world. I always forget to say that, but it really does make a difference. And you know what I'm going to say. Until next time, thanks, Bob, and toodles.
Thanks, Sandy.